Guys, it's Sarah with Grassroots Evolution Tarot, and I'm here I was getting ready to do my workout, and I kept feeling called, to do a message from your warrior spirit. So what I'm going to do is bring in the Sacred Rebels Oracle from Alana Fairchild, and Oracle, the Isis Oracle by, again, Alana Fairchild. And I have the Steampunk Tarot here, as well as another Alana Fairchild with the Crystal Mandala. So I'm going to get straight into this. I'm going to ask Spirit, Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, my team of light, Isis, as well as any of your spirit guides that would be here for the highest good to join us. I'm going to ask them to guide, guard, bless, and protect myself, this reading, and any of you who'd ask for it, as well as to use me as the clearest channel and delivering messages that are for the highest good, again, of everyone watching, but the most farthest reaching of this collective. So guys, if I trigger you, if I say something that makes you feel a certain way, how can you use this, using your empowered vulnerability, to go forward and create what I heard is calculated change in your worlds, right? So what did I say? What did it make you feel? Is this attached to a memory, a feeling, an emotion? Is there some clearing that needs to be done? Which is also where I really felt strongly that this is where these cards will come in, because they kind of have healing affirmations, and this may be something that we're kind of going to be clearing away, anything that's getting in the way of this warrior process, okay? So first off, I'm going to just start with a message from the Alana Fairchild Sacred Rebel Oracle on what Spirit would like us to know. I'm also at this time going to call on my warrior self, as well as your warrior self, and I'm going to ask our warrior selves to help inform us throughout this mission, again with the clearest possible messages for the highest good, and they're saying is soul outcomes as well, because our warrior self, this warrior archetype, this is something that we've been many lifetimes, okay? So it says, come to life, warriors, come to life. I'm going to read the message from the book because she's amazing. But if you look at her, she's painting life back into herself. And what is it that would paint life back into yourself? For some of you, it's, get out into the sun and get a tan. For some of you, if the sun bothers you, get some spray tan, my friends, or some cream lotion or something like that. I opened up to beyond the mind, the heartbeats as well. And you think that this is important to bring ourselves to life. We're going to do things that connect with our heart, align with our heart, and connect ourselves with our soul, because our heart leads the way. It truly does. So this is also 43, which is a 7. And to me, this is about choices. To come to what I heard is grips with reality, or come to a point with where we are right now, and the best is yet to come. It was a message I saw. I was going, I don't know where I was even, but I walked around the corner and there was this little mug that said, the best is yet to come. I think it's a dollar store or something like that. And I was like, thank you, Spirit, because it really was. Just remind yourself that wherever you are, the best is yet to come. You are building and creating the life you'd like to see. And you have a hand in this painting. You are the artist in your world, okay? You're your own illustrator. So it says, you are the most sacred of all sacred artworks. You are bringing yourself to life, and now this is how it must be. Of course, something being essential doesn't mean it will always be easy. You must support yourself and have courage during this process. Your monkey mind may not run the show, or is not to run the show. It might have a lot to say, and at times it seems very convincing, but it is not the only one in charge. It is not the one in charge. It's you. Your mind can inspire you with ideas, however, it is the real you that speaks through your rebellious, sacred heart and is giving your life, not the monkey mind. The mind is not much more than a swirling cacophony of habitual reactions. Beneath habitual thoughts, there is a deep, sensual, creative, and energetic awakening happening within you. It is so far behind what the mind is now capable of controlling. Others might not like it because it shakes things up. Coming to life tends to do that. However, it is happening now, and the only real choice you have to make is how to deal with it. Coming to life means feeling, baby. It means feeling. It might bring joy, but it could also equally bring sadness, rage, or fear. Okay, I'm going to pause for a second, because what I'm seeing is all the different colors. If you guys know that Disney movie Inside Out or whatever, what are the colors? Because rage, right? Red. our fear. Think about the chakras as well. What do we need to do? What are the colors that we bring? This is also our aura, right? If we are in a state of rage and we're taking this around others, what are we leaving behind? The same way goes to speak with when other people are coming towards us. What is the color that they're bringing to our life? And we want to make sure that we're not absorbing this color, right? So it says, it could bring all of these and more. Feelings will come and go quite swiftly when allowed to flow. You might need to paint, write, enact rituals, sing or dance your feelings to help the energy flow. Don't hold back. Create the space for yourself to do it. In this process, you are uncovering the artistry of the universal creator. You are honoring the sacredness of your life by exploring it without restraint, and that includes the flow of your feelings. You don't have to do anything with them other than express. You may want to analyze or you may not. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you are getting in touch with feeling. Learning how to access your feelings allows you to learn how to access your intuition, creative inspiration, and genuine internal guidance. These aspects flow from the same place and are often couched with your feelings in the form of emotions as well as physical sensations. The journey underneath the mind into a sensual emotional connection with your feelings, emotions, and body is for a sacred purpose. It is a part of your path. You are one of the sacred but powerful minority that have chosen to come into a body and live consciously within it. That may seem like it applies to everybody, but when you experience it for yourself, you will realize that this is actually rather rare. There are plenty of bodies without a spirit really residing within. To care for, love, and honor them as a sacred animal. Don't doubt your beauty and your rarity and how beautiful and rare your personal growth is. Because it's so we're getting channeled here, but it's something you don't see every day. And that's the kind of thing that shows your warrior spirit, because you refuse to stop. You refuse to stay stuck. You refuse to stay stagnant. And you see what's not working for you and you refuse to let that continue. That, my friends, is beautiful. That, my friends, is a warrior spirit. Have faith in yourself. I have faith in you. And know that you are absolutely powerful. And everything that you do, every movement that you make, this warrior spirit within inside of you roars, because it feels like it's being heard. So what I heard is, allow this warrior spirit to take you where you need to go. And for many of you, this warrior has been fighting you to feel these feelings for a long time. And it may be, this archetype of warrior within ourselves that we're like, no, I can't feel these things. Because if I feel these things, this is what's going to happen. And we've really tried to control, our feelings, or gulp it down, or make them not there. And what they said is, right, spirits, it's going to come and go, these emotions, if we allow them to flow. There may be some things that get kind of stuck. And this is where I heard is, like, you may want to maybe even look up, like, Reiki for, energy clearing and things like that. And just give yourself a lot of love, grace, water, and sleep, And afterwards, and pay attention to what comes up. You may want to journal them down, because what may happen is you start to see the interconnectedness of all of these experiences in this massive lesson. And for some of you, journaling may not be your thing, right? But it's just keeping reference of, okay, these are the lessons I'm learning along the way. And what I think you're going to find is, especially as our healing comes from when we start to deal with a situation that may have broke us before in this way that we're like hell fucking proud of ourselves, because holy shit, I matured, man, I grew, and this isn't the person that I was 6 months ago, a year ago, yesterday. And, be very proud of yourself for that, because, again, this is that warrior spirit, that there's no longer a war within ourselves. And really honoring and accepting our true feelings, this is the path of the warrior. Even though we may see that archetype as different, there is all of this armor, but there is so much heart, and our spirit, again, is saying, remember, not everybody is you. You are rare. You are a rare beauty. And I want to tell you guys something. I was channeling earlier, and I did a message for Sagittarius, and I was like, no, it doesn't feel like this is Sagittarius' message. And I was going to do like a random message from Spirit, and I was like, no, I'm going to do Sag first. So what I heard is, and take it how it resonates, but you You will always be supported by God's highest. You will always be supported by what I heard is the most brilliant angels, by the most powerful gods and goddesses. You are divine, and this is where our connection, what I heard is grace as well, our connection to spirit. Really, we need to tap into this emotional body to connect, because spirit speaks to us in so many ways. Many times spirit can speak to us through a bodily feeling, through an emotion, through synchronicity, right? Through a bee or something landing on you, through so many things, right? Songs, music. What is it that makes you come to life? It says experience those emotions, my friends. Because one thing I heard is what will make you a better warrior for other things is when you've conquered those inner demons on your own, and you are using these and fueling these forward for whatever your platform is. For me, what I heard is social justice, because I want to make a difference in all of your worlds. I want you all to feel empowered. I want you all to feel brave. I want you all to know that you're hella loved and you're equally beautiful, that this world wouldn't be the same place without you. And if you're feeling like you've been living in gray for a while because your beliefs are too cray, man, or you're too much of an old soul to really fit into this world, this time is where we really need you to come out of hiding and to show those emotions and feel those emotions. Because, I feel like as well, many of you, if if you're an old soul, if you have very, very deep feelings, and this is why sometimes we repress them, right? Because it fucking hurts to feel. But it hurts more not to. Because there's times where if we can't allow ourselves to feel, here in Lincoln Park, I've been listening to a lot of them, but that song, Numb, we don't want to get to a point where we're numb. And some of us, this is maybe where we've been, and it's a protection method at the time, but you'll thank yourself immensely for opening yourself up. And this could be heart chakra opening, and that, my friends, is not for the faint of heart. Opening our heart chakra, allowing ourselves to feel, I think it's going to take a lot of what I heard is tension and potentially dysfunction is what I heard, as well as defensiveness away from us. Because the more we're healing, we're not coming from an ego, we're not trying to cover anything up, we've dealt with our own emotions, and we're not being super triggered. I love the winds, my lord. We're not being super triggered, though, when somebody says something, we're not taking it super personally, and we're not feeling it's an attack. And I mean, even if somebody's like, hey, I want to get under this person's skin, because somebody may have really benefited from you living in black and white, but you're like, yo, when was it? The 50s they invented color television? I am not living in black and white. I like to see color. And I mean, for some of you, again, this is color on your face. For some of you, what I heard is this is an orgasm, okay? This is something, or smiling or laughing, or something that's going to bring color to you, to your body, to your face. And honestly, for some of you, this is sensual awakening. This is feeling your feelings as well. For some of you, maybe there's repressed stuff. I'll be honest, because I think that this is my warrior spirit, and this is my mission as well, is to share my vulnerability with you, because I believe, and I've said this in many videos, but if you've never seen them, that the personal is political, much like this grassroots feminist, warriors, that, that maybe my story may help some of you, because I may not be alone in this, right, within this collective world. But I experienced sexual abuse as a kid, and I've realized a lot within my world, and it's been something that I guess I've denied it, but I've realized where kind of and how there's blockages, okay? And I don't even really want to say it, but I'm being really guided to say it. I think it's because so many of us may hold shame to a feeling or something, because if this happens, right, if you're exposed to something before you are openly okay to to explore your sexuality, this feels like something dirty. This feels like something not right because your experience with it was abuse, right? And sorry if I trigger you, but this is this warrior self within me. And I've had a real kind of thought process about this, you know, in the last little while, and I'm not sure which. If you guys watch a lot, there was a video where I did solar plexus healing at the end, and I mean, it was just as much for myself. I did Reiki on that. Just a second, guys. Okay, I'm back, guys. So where I was at with this is I've been also reading, I think I've also spoke about this book about Silence No More and surviving my journey from hell and back. And, I knew it would trigger and it was going to be triggering, but it is something that, while it was triggering, it was really important for me to hear her voice and to also know that this is something that I need to articulate, because once I can articulate it, it's not something that's, it's out in the open. Okay, so then I have said it in other things, it's just that it's not something I like to focus on, but where I was going with this is I did that Reiki, and it was so interesting that, circumstances brought to light what I needed to finally understand, right? And or a way of seeing it and understand that can then kind of be like, okay, I can see how this trauma is manifesting right now, and this is where we really need to find the healing and the understanding, right? To take away the feelings of shame attached to an orgasm or the feelings of whatever. And I mean, for some of you, if you do experience this, it's not even like it happens all the time, right? This is something, again, because it's trauma, that it's so internally held that, it's just being, again, very aware. So for some of you, this is feelings you don't want to feel, and I can guarantee you it's very, very hard for me to even share what I'm sharing the way I'm sharing it with you right now, and it's like I don't want to, right? But I do, because I feel like many of you may find yourself experiencing blocks to your own pleasure, your own sexuality, because of trauma. So if any of you guys, if you're able to read it, because it's triggering as shit, and it does have to do with sexual violence as well as trafficking. So, but it is also important in her explanations, and I even have found the way she's explained these things has really helped kind of not silence my soul, but silence that raging part of me that just didn't know how to articulate, I guess, what was going on, right? So let's get before I grab tarot warriors, I'm going to grab some healing, because I think this is what we need. I'm going to grab a message from the Crystal Mandala Oracle. Some of you guys, this is what those feelings are, though, because if it's something we're hiding from or we don't want to acknowledge because it hurts, it's shameful, and I mean, too, I feel like it's hard because many people who've experienced this, there is, again, even that shame of saying it, especially in generations where this kind of thing was silenced. I think it's important to acknowledge as well that, for some of you, okay, before I get farther into this, for some of us it's really important to kind of make sure that you know what signs of, are of somebody who may be or have gone through this are, okay, to protect your babies, to explain to your children appropriate and inappropriate touch, to make sure that they know that if something were to happen to them and somebody does this, you say no, and you make sure, you scream really loud, you make sure people notice, you call attention to that behavior so that they'll get leave you alone and you tell a parent, you come and you don't keep it a secret, that it's not okay for people to do this. This is violating you. It's important for us to have these kinds of conversations with our children, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's triggering us, because just a second, honey, we need to make sure that they are fully aware, that it's not okay. And as well as I just want to say, often people have this image of the sexual predator as a stranger, and oftentimes it is someone who is trusted and that has gained access and misused or used inappropriate power dynamics and then misused his or her trust to do this. So it is very important to listen to your children as well, to hear what they have to say and to instill in them their worth, their knowledge of, their body, and appropriate versus inappropriate touch. Okay, so, is that just what you want, to color?
No, Mama.
Just a second, guys. Okay, I'm back, guys. So, the card I'm going to pull here, let's see, I'm going to ask Archangel Gabriel as well to join us right now, and Archangel Raphael for some healing. Spirit, what message? Thank you. So a few. First is Goddess Tara with Tibetan quartz, and her eyes ever open. Sacred Pleasure with the Goddess Bastet, and Archangel Gabriel, safe to be seen with turquoise. I think that it's because there's so much with this, okay, especially with everything I've just said, okay? So if what I said resonated with you, this is where it is really important to know that it is safe to be seen in all your true glory. It is safe to be seen in who you are. It is safe to express your experiences and what has happened to you. And it is safe to do this in a non-judgmental way. I would say that if you know somebody, maybe... Oh, just a second, guys. Okay, guys, I apologize. I'm back. So, I don't remember where I was, but this is just making sure that it's safe to be seen. It's safe to feel these feelings right now. It's safe to be open. It's safe to be vulnerable. And it's safe to let yourself shine and see the places where things are being dulled. And this sacred pleasure also is involved in, doing things that make us smile, about dancing. This could be moving your body. They're telling me, too, it could be very important to wear cat's eye, this Tibetan quartz, as well as the turquoise. I was very guided to bring turquoise as well. And this is throat chakra opening, this third eye opening, as well as our sacral. Really, really coming to, I feel like an understanding of what they're telling me right now, as well as Kundalini rising. Here's where we're really going to unblock the process, the blocks towards your sacred processes right now. So let me find number 44 with Goddess Bastet and Cat's Eye. And we'll go through the healing process. And I think that that's the message. Unless, well, they're like, no, you want tarot. So we'll see if we have time. Number 44. Okay, so you can repeat after me, or you can just ask Spirit to speak the words through me and help benefit your soul and allow the healing towards you. That's my intention here, but if you wanted to say some of these things after, you absolutely can pause it. And also, this is the Sacred Rebels Oracle by Elena Fairchild. So it says, I call upon the crystal angel of Cat's Eye and Goddess Bastet, who love me unconditionally. Thank you for the divine healing empowerment of sacred pleasure. I ask for your healing grace through unconditional love to help me release any consciously or unconsciously held self-hatred, self-loathing, or lack of self-respect now. I choose to offer up to the loving grace of the Universal Mother any pattern or belief system connected to fear-based control or annihilation or an inhibition. I wish to love and respect myself, to be able to receive the sacred pleasure that is my divine inheritance. Through divine mercy and my own free will, so be it. And it says if you want to further integrate this guidance, which we do, it says hold the oracle with the mandala facing outwards at the sacral. So you don't have it, just use your hands, face it out, and take it just under your navel, kind of like if you're a woman where your period cramps are, if you're a guy in between your belly button and your groin, kind of in that area. Okay, I'm going to take this, and it says what we want to do is relax and breathe in and out a few times. So breathe in. Imagine orange light coming into this chakra, whirling around. Pay attention to any sensations you may get. Breathe in, breathe out. Another breath in. And one more time. And we're going to say this. I choose of my own free will through this and any lifetime and through all layers of my entire being to thoroughly release, forgive, and disconnect from any experience, memory, or associated belief system connected to shaming, guilt, judgment, or fear of pleasure, as well as any experience or belief system that supports self-loathing and self or fear-based control and inhibition. I forgive myself and others completely. I am an amazing being with divine compassion. In my own strength, I shall heal my body, mind, and soul as I enter into the delights of sacred pleasure and an act of reverence for divine creation. Through divine empowerment and unconditional love, so be it. So we're going to do a little prayer now too. You can put your hands in prayer position. And it says, may divine love bring a capacity for consciousness, sacred pleasure to all beings. May all hearts be freed from hatred and fear. According to divine mercy, grace, and in service to the divine feminine wisdom evolving through humanity at this time, so be it. You can finish your healing process with this affirmation. Say it out loud. So let's say this 3 times just to integrate it fully. I revel in the sacred pleasure as the divine sweetens my deal, putting some sugar in my bowl. I revel in sacred pleasure as the divine sweetens my deal, putting some sugar in my bowl. I revel in sacred pleasure as the divine sweetens my deal, putting some sugar in my bowl. And for any of you guys like Rice Krispies, right? As a kid, I mean now you wouldn't put the sugar on it, but man, Rice Krispies with sugar, just sweeten that up a little bit, right? So let's see what messages, or just as a little parting gift, Spirit give me 2. And they have the 7 of Pentacles with the 3 of Pentacles. And I feel like this is kind of studying and working together, kind of seeing the progress along the way. They've got Temperance in the reverse here. Anything else, Spirit? Thank you. Okay, so they have the 9 of Cups as well, with being generous and joy, open-hearted. I feel like this is really asking you, what I heard is to be careful with your partnerships, right? To make sure that you are not only giving, but receiving within balance within the partnerships that we're having. And that if you do see places where, for some of you, you may see places after this healing that's going to show you just a little bit of, what I heard is wisdom and education. If you can see, he's taking notes, right, on how things are growing. It's not time. This person is very patient. I also heard kind. And it is important to work together, to read the plans, have somebody who knows how to do it, and kind of read in between the lines sometimes. But it says best ales, spirits, and this is honestly not leading you into temptation, but giving you some much needed, for some of you, this is time for sacred pleasure and release, and knowing that it is absolutely wonderful that this is part of why we were put on this earth, is to experience pleasure. But if we weren't meant to experience pleasure, we wouldn't be given these feelings within our body. Now for some of you as well, that this is knowing that it's safe to be seen, that if you are experiencing blocks within your sexual pleasure and your sacred pleasure, be open with your partners and explain, I do have some blocks. And for some of you, like, what I heard is just, for some of you it's waiting, okay? But it's also really paying attention to, sometimes when you do get triggered in that way, writing it down, we're just really taking a very strong note in and working on integrating the healing. So it is safe to be seen. We want to remove all layers here. For some of you, I know, and I want to say that some of the safe to be seen is because fear other people may believe you, right? That how do I want to say this happened to me when people ridicule? There's so many reasons why people don't come forward with abuse and sexual abuse. And one of the biggest things I feel like is, again, fear of ridicule, fear of judgment, and it's still because fear, judgment, shame, guilt, all of those things are encapsulated into something, especially when you're a child and internalize this, and it's like something, you were wronged, something wrong happened to you. And this is where we're not coming from a victim mentality, but we are coming from a place where we have every right to speak up, and you don't need to be silenced. And I feel as for some of you, there may have been a point where some of you may have been, you're showing me the sword warriors, where you may have protected someone, and this isn't most of the time, especially if it's a trusted person, you may protect them, because there's a whole lot of ramifications, right? But this is important to tell and to know that your story deserves to be heard too, your voice deserves to be heard, and we really need to work on the feelings of shame and guilt, because again, especially depending on what happens when power dynamics are misused, especially if you experience childhood trauma like myself. This is stuff where it's like, this is where something was taken from you. Innocence. It's time to work on bringing yourself back to wholeness. And what I also heard is about dissociation, right? There may be where we need to call back part of our soul. Is, hey, I experienced trauma as a kid, and I'm pretty sure I put part of me over here. It's time to really call back all aspects of our soul that are for our highest good. Allow those wounded parts of us, those childhood wounded parts of us that are no longer resonating or vibrating on a soul level, to leave. I also feel a lot of heart energy. I know this is myself as well, because what I'm going to say in this longer video than I expected, but it's going to be open, vulnerable, and me. So there's a real trust that gets broken as well, especially if it is a trusted individual who's gone too far with their trust. This is really also setting stage for other relationships in your life. So this is where it's important. And if you're wondering what I'm doing, just pulling away the stuff, all the strings that were attached to my heart. I realized as well the other day while talking to my husband, I hadn't even really realized all of the ways that it affected me, and I probably still don't, but it is really important that we go through our healing and that we cut those cords of attachment to shame or guilt that tell us that we're less than, that we're tainted, that we're whatever kinds of things. And as well as what I want to say to you is not to put your story on a scale of other people's trauma, because the level of abuse that you experienced, regardless of whether from 1 to 10, 1 being the least and 10 being the most gruesome, it doesn't matter, because it's still a trauma to you. So don't deny yourself those feelings because you feel like, well, other people, were definitely traumatized more than me. Well, that's okay, but you're not other people, and you don't have to live in their shoes. You have to live in yours, my friends. So it is safe to be seen, and it is safe to feel pleasure. Keep your eyes open to that. Know that, I feel like there's something they're saying, okay, and this may even be from me, but for any of you as well, that like, if you do get triggered throughout sacred pleasure and things like that, again, these feelings coming up, to say, open and honestly, it is my divine birthright to experience pleasure on this earth. It is my divine birthright to experience sacred pleasure on this earth. It is your divine birthright to experience sacred pleasure on this earth, but within a consensual relationship that is devoid of power dynamics. That's the message, more apt to say. Okay, so that's what I have. I love you all. I hope this message resonated. I apologize if I triggered you, but again, if I did, if I triggered you, if I touched a nerve, what was it? What is it attached to? Can you see a way that this is still showing up in your worlds? And how can we heal it? How can we use our empowered vulnerability actively moving forward to create change on a positive day-to-day basis? For some of you, I want to stress energy work. You know, for myself, this is probably it too. But energy work, Reiki work, this is a lot of work to move and get some of the blockages moved out, because this is definitely energetic and it's been a place for a long time, right? This is a new cycle, and to create a new cycle, we need to block or get rid of those blocks to our creative process. So this is the message I have. I love, love, love you all. I hope that you all have the most wonderful, pleasurable time in the next little while, warriors, and you fight for yourself. And what that means is you stand guard for yourself, and you stand up for your truth. And, regardless of whether I heard some of you may have felt like in the past you've spoke up for your truth and it fell on deaf ears. Regardless who's listening, you're inside, your internal warriors listening. So, for some of you, again, if it's painful and you don't want to talk about it to people, you can write this out and then have a burn ritual, burn it, and set your intentions to release some of the hold that this still has on you. And this may be stuff you have to do over and over and over again, but this is one of the ways that we help heal ourselves. So, mwah, 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 beautifuls. I love you all. I hope you all have a divinely glorious rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.